Hey, child custody battles are always painful and often really complex. Tonight I'm going to talk about three practical issues here. We have child abuse, we have how parents negotiate or refuse to negotiate with their children, and we have how a custody battle is initiated in the first place. I'm going to talk about a custody battle video that was uploaded to YouTube the other day. Let's start at the end with the child abuse. We have three persons here being the main actors. We have the parent who have the custody, we have the parent who want the custody, and we have their 14 years old son. And towards the end of the video, almost an hour has passed, the son accuse the parent who have the custody of abusing him, of beating him. This is done in front of the police, and the parent who have the custody confesses and threatens to do it again. My jaw kinda dropped when I watched that. But please understand that I am Swedish. We have a bit of a cultural difference here with this whole circus going on in the USA. Probably Texas, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was Texas. Here in Sweden, it is very illegal to beat your child. It is a criminal offense. It is child abuse. And almost any Swedish person would agree with me that this thing is child abuse, even if it happens in America. There are some people who would say that, oh, but cultures are different, so it's child abuse to beat a Swedish boy, but it's not child abuse to beat an American boy because they have their culture and it's their right to get beaten by their parents, blah, 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 blah. I don't agree with that kind of cultural relativism at all. I don't agree with what I call cultural chauvinism either, that idea that your own culture is always right. No, I prefer what I call cultural skepticism, which means that you have a critical perspective on all cultures, including your own, and try to embrace the good parts, accept the neutral parts, and try to change the bad parts of a culture. When a culture accepts child abuse, this is a culture that needs to change. And in this particular case, I guess it is legal in Texas to beat your child. I didn't look it up, but the police didn't arrest the parent who had the custody. They did, however, allow the son to stay in the car with the other parent, effectively giving temporary custody to this other parent and tell the parents to make it up in court. Skipping then to the issue that begins the video, we have this thing with how custody battle is initiated. In this particular case, we have the parent who don't have the custody have had the children visiting, and the three younger kids go into the house of the parent with the custody, but the oldest son remains in the car and refuses to leave. The parent who has the custody comes out and the whole thing is filmed and the quarrel begins. This is a very bad way of doing a custody battle. I don't know whether or not it is the lesser evil in this particular case. I don't know how much other options were available. In principle, I totally agree with the custody parent that this is not the way to do things. However, I don't know if any other choice was available. I mean, with the custody parent making a habit of beating the child, and seriously. And there's also this other big issue of negotiations. In this video, the custody parent handled the negotiation really badly. Of course, this can be attributed to having the whole situation thrown at you and being filmed at the same time. That would piss off anybody. Still, it's not a very good indication. I would love if someone could transcribe that entire conversation. I would like to analyze it in some detail. But what I could pick up from viewing the whole thing, first of all, the custody parent insists that, quote, come in and talk about this, unquote. However, the same person is also very clear that actually discussing custody is not on the table and will never be on the table. The child, who is again 14, will not be allowed to go to court and ask for having the custody changed because the parent who have the custody will not allow this. The parent with the custody will remain in custody because this parent has custody. Really creepy argument. And it's also another thing is that the custody parent has remarried, has a new partner. Also a heterosexual couple, but I'm leaving out pronouns here because it's not relevant or should not be relevant with gender. We should see this as a matter of two parents, never mind who is the man and who is the woman, preferably. So anyway, the parent with the custody have a new partner and insist that this is the real other parent, referring to themselves. The custody parent refer to this couple as the mother and father, ignoring the fact that the other parent who wants custody is the actual parent. So this is really pushing your personal preferences on the child, demanding that reality change retroactively on your whim. That's not really okay either. There were several other things that were really fucked up. One of them, all of a sudden, in the middle of everything, the custody parent claims to, I think it was, have bought a car. Out of the blue, have bought a car for the 14 years old. I might have misheard this because it sounds so unreasonable. The idea is that the child should step out of the car to have a look at his own car. And when the kid doesn't fall for this, it is never mentioned again. So I guess it's an outright lie. Another well, first of all, this thing with having custody because of having custody is used in two ways. One is this thing with, oh, but there's nothing to discuss because I will not allow custody to be changed and I am the one who have custody. But also the argument that since I have custody, I have spent more time with the kid, and therefore the parent who is not allowed to spend time with the child is not a good parent. Again, really creepy circular reasoning. the best of it all, perhaps, was the one that, okay, the other parent is not fit to be a parent. And why? Because that's none of your business. You will just have to take my word for it that your other parent is unfit to be a parent. And why is none of your business? You don't need to know that. Said to someone who is 14, I think that's way big enough to have a serious discussion. But I mean, this discussion goes on for an hour, and the whole thing seems to be about moving the discussion from being with the child to being above the child's head. According to the child, the local laws of Texas allow children who are 12 or older to have their own say in matters like this legally. And I assume that the kid and his non-custodial parent has looked this up and know what they're talking about. I don't know American law very well, and I don't even know for sure what state this is, but I assume they know what they're talking about. And I do also agree with the custodial parent that, of course, they have talked about this before and planned it. Well, the same custody parent also claimed that the whole thing was only at a whim and not thought through at all. You can't have it both ways, but oh, what the hell. Anyway, all in all, I think this is an interesting case study, and the whole thing with the child abuse really shocked me. And I wasn't actually surprised when it happened, because this whole argument that had already been going on for almost an hour, it was all about I am up here and you are down there, and you are nothing and I am everything because I am the parent. That whole mentality. And that goes very well together with beating your children, asserting power through physical force. My worldview is the one true worldview because I can beat you up. And I have personally never really been into the issues of rights of children. I've been working with adult people's rights, but this very mentality is one of the main things I've been fighting against, and it's so common with how people treat children. Yeah, I want to look into this kind of issues more in the future. And for this particular case, I really wish them all luck in court. I really hope this go to court and get the court who looks into the whole thing in a serious manner, not just not just pick sides because of gender or because of how the things or because of any detail in the whole struggle. I mean, there are some things speaking to each person's side. Initiating the whole thing without going through proper channels was a bad thing. Like I say, like I said, I don't know if it was the best choice available after all. I mean, if the custodial parent is hell bent on obstructing and deciding that no, I decide what my son wants until he's 18, I don't know. I just hope that this gets sorted out well in court. So, to everybody, live long and prosper.